السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. Our today's discussion is one of the most important discussion regarding the علوم القرآن, regarding the sciences of Quran, Surah Tafsir. And there is much debate about this discussion. And also there are so many criticism on this issue from the enemies of Islam, because there are some groups that do not accept the concept of nasikh and al-mansukh in Quran. The discussion is our regarding nasikh and mansukh, the abrogating verses and the abrogated verses. So Jews, they do not believe in the nasikh. They do not accept that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sends a command and afterward He removes the command, He lifts the command, or He replaces the commandment by another commandment. Though ironically, practically they have accepted when they believe that the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam had abrogated the previous scriptures, so practically they have accepted. But they do not accept that any prophet or any Sharia can abrogate the Sharia of Musa. Why they do not accept? Because if they believe in that, they will have to believe in Isa alayhi salam as well. Because Isa alayhi salam, he had abrogated so many commandments of the Sharia of Musa. If they believe in this naskh, in the abrogation, so they will have to believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has abrogated so many commandments of the Sharia of Musa. So our discussion is regarding nasikh and mansukh. What does it mean? It means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sends down a commandment, He sends down any ayah, and later on Allah replaces this commandment by another commandment. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He lifts it totally, completely, this commandment is abrogated or cancelled. So this is the concept that Allah says in Quran, ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها. That whenever we send down any commandment, or so we replace it, we change it by a better commandment or similar to it, or we cause this commandment to be forgotten. Completely we make people to forget this commandment. أَلَمْ تَعْلَمْ أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Don't you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is powerful to do everything. He is qadir upon every matter. So this, or in another place Allah says, وَإِذَا بَدَّلْنَا آيَةً مَكَانَ آيَةٍ وَاللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ بِمَا يُنَزِّلُ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُفْتَرٍ. When we replace one ayah by another ayah, one verse by another verse, one commandment by another commandment, they blame the Prophet. They say, you are a muftar, you are a liar, you yourself have composed this Quran, you yourself are making this Quran. They blame the Prophet. So these ayat clearly prove the concept of abrogation in Quran, in our deen. Though there are some so-called scholars who refute, who deny to believe, no Muslim denies the concept of naskh in Quran, except for some maybe Ahl Bid'ah, some innovators, or their followers, or the Jew, or the enemies of Islam. Otherwise, all ulama and Jamhur ulama Sunnah, they believe in the concept of nasakh in Quran. So this is very important for all Muslims to know about the matter of the discussion of nasikh and mansukh, the verses, the commandment which are the abrogating, which have been abrogated. Very important for every Muslim. It is mandatory for every Muslim, compulsory for every Muslim to know. Let's suppose a Muslim, he reads any ayah or he reads any hadith of the Prophet ﷺ without knowing whether this hadith with this commandment has been abrogated or not. Let's suppose there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that he says that he who aftar al-harim wal-mahdum, the couple and the cupped one, both have broken their fast. You know the cupping, hijama. The person who does hijama or the person who is done upon the hijama, the couple and the cupped one, if they are fasting, their fast is nullified. They have broken their fast. The hadith is sahih. But when you look at the scene of the Prophet ﷺ, in the last days of his life, when he performed Hajjatul Wada, at that time, the Prophet ﷺ, he called someone to do hijama upon himself. And he was fasting. And the Prophet ﷺ, it was done upon the, and he was also in the state of ihram at that time. It means that the Prophet ﷺ, the first previous commandment was abrogated. Likewise, so in other hadith, Nabi Sallallahu says that he who drinks alcohol, you give him lashes 3 times. And then he said, فَإِنْ عَادَ الرَّابِعَ فَاقْتُلُوهُ. And if he repeats 4 times, drinks 1, he got lashes, punishment. 2nd time, 3rd time. And if he drinks 4 times, فَاقْتُلُوهُ, kill him. But no Sahabi hold the opinion to execute the drunk person how many times he drinks. He is committing a grave sin. But this is not a sin that he should be executed. Though the hadith say the same, but that hadith is abrogated now. So likewise there are so many verses in the Quran. Allah says that وَحَيْثُمَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. Wherever you turn your faces, you will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mean whenever you turn your faces to perform salah, it will be accepted. The meaning of this ayah. فَحَيْثُمَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. So a person, he read this ayah that Allah says, whenever you turn your faces, so he said, what point to face just this direction, I will face that side? Because Allah says, وَحَيْثُمَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. But he does not know that there is another verse which had abrogated this command. Allah said, وَمِنْ حَيْثُ خَرَجْنَا فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. Wherever you turn, wherever you are, turn your faces towards Qibla. So this ayah has specified now that you have to turn your face towards Qibla. Likewise, so many other. So it means that every Muslim must know this issue of nasikh and al-mansukh. Whether the ahkam are given in Quran or whether the ahkam are given in hadith, he should know that whether this commandment is abrogated or not. Like that, especially scholars, ulama, they must know, they must be very perfect in this issue. That was the reason Sayyidina Ali al-Murza radiallahu ta'ala, when he found someone giving nasiha to people, giving lecture and performing the duty of calling toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asked him, أَتَعْرِفُ النَّاسِخَ وَالْمَنْسُوخ? Do you know the abrogating and abrogated verses? Do you know the ahkam of nasikh and mansukh? He said, La, I don't know. He said, halakna wa ahlakt. You are perished and you are causing people to perish. You are destroyed. Meaning you yourself are destroying yourself, and also people, you are causing people to destroy, perish. Wa dhalalta wa adlalt. You went astray and you are causing people to go astray. Meaning, if an alim, he does not know ahkam of nasikh and mansukh, let's suppose he reads the ayah. Allah says that La taqrabu salata wa antum sukara. Allah said, don't go close to prayer, don't offer prayer when you are in a state of intoxication. So it proves that you can drink alcohol without knowing. In this ayah, Allah has not declared that sharab is alcohol is haram. Allah said, when you are in a state of intoxication, don't go near the masjid, don't offer prayer there. Hatta ta'lamu ma taqulu. Until that state, that situation goes, and you are in a state to know, you know what are you reading. So I remember that once a man came to me and he said, Shaykh, Allah says in the Quran that regarding fasting, regarding sound, let's say that a person who struggle, who is elderly person who finds it hard to fast, so what should he do? Allah said, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ لَكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ أَيَّامًا مَّعْدُودَةً فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنكُم مَّرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. So those people who find it hard to fast, so they can give a fidya of a poor person, they can feed a poor man, and no need for fasting. It was in the beginning. So he said, Allah said, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ. This ayah has two meanings. Those people who can afford to give fidya, so they can pay fidya to a poor person, and no, it's not compulsory upon them to fast. So what point to fast? I am able to give fidya. I said, read the next ayah. Allah said, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. He who finds the month of Ramadan and he is at home, he is not traveling, and he is in good condition, good health, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. So he must fast. Just by reading one ayah, just by reading one hadith, without knowing whether the commandment is abrogated or not. So if some person he follows any commandment, if some person he preaches a commandment and he teaches people, so it means that he is not following the true religion of our deen. So it's very important. And still, again I repeat, this is the haqq, this is truth, that nasikh and mansukh, it is a part of our deen, not only on our deen. It has been a part of all Sharia. All Sharia, they had been following the same rule, principle of nasikh and mansukh. If you take the example of Sharia, Adam alayhi salam, what was permissible for them in the time of Adam alayhi salam? That brother and sister, they were allowed, they were permitted to marry. Brother, Sayyida Hawa alayhi salam, she used to give birth to two babies, daughter and son, in one haml, in one pregnancy, and in second the same son and daughter, and the son of one haml was allowed to marry the daughter of second haml. Both were brother and sister. It was permitted in that Sharia. The marriage between brother and sister was permitted in the Sharia of Adam alayhi salam. But what happened later on? Later on it was abrogated. It was even the Jew, the Christian, they accept this principle, this hukm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it was permitted in the Sharia of Adam alayhi salam. So why it is not permitted now? It has been abrogated now. So it means that it is not just in our deen, it is not in just Quran. In all previous Sharia, in all previous religion, the principle was the same, that abrogation, the nasikh and mansukh. And in the Sharia of Yaqub alayhi salam, it was permitted to combine two sisters in your marriage, to marry two sisters at the same time. Allah says, وَأَن تَجْمَعُوا بَيْنَ الْأُخْتَيْنِ إِلَّا مَا قَدْ سَلَفَ. It has been prohibited now in this Sharia to marry two sisters at the same time, except what has been past, what has been over now before. It means in the Sharia of Yaqub, even Yaqub alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, great prophet, he married two sisters. Two sisters were in his nikah at the same time. Two sisters. But later on it has been prohibited. Even in the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam, keeping two sisters in nikah were prohibited afterward. Even not in this Sharia in haram, Allah says, وَأَن تَجْمَعُ بَيْنَ الْأُخْتَيْنِ إِلَّا مَا خَصَّ لَهُ. So it means that even Jews, they accept the concept of nasakh. That once something was given, a command was given, later on Allah He lifts the command, He changed the command, He replaced the command by another commandment. In previous Sharia, in religion, it was permitted to prostrate before elders, to prostrate before kings, to prostrate before elderly people or respectful, honorable people, to sajda. Litta'azim, for respect, to show your respect, not for ibadah, just for to show your respect for them. Just like Yusuf alayhi salam, his brother, his parents, they prostrated to Yusuf alayhi salam. But in our Sharia, they prohibited now. So concept of nasakh and abrogation is proved by all other Sharia, by all other religion. So it is a truth, no person can deny. So in our deen, in Quran, there are some verses, some commandments which Allah sent on and later on they were abrogated. So what is the wisdom behind? Why it's so? Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He sends some commandment and later on Allah He replaces it by another commandment. So the people who deny the concept of nasakh, like Jews or some other people, they say that if we accept the concept of nasakh, so it is bada. لأن البداء على الله محال لأن النسخ بداء على الله والبداء على الله محال. This is bada. Bada means a man, suppose he gives you instruction, afterward he finds that my instruction was not good, there was some fault. So he changes his opinion, changes his mind later on. In the beginning, he did not know the consequences of his commandment. Likewise, a doctor, he gives you a medicine, afterward he finds, no, this medicine is not good. So he changes the medicine. So it is bada that later on you find that my previous commandment was not good. There was some fault, some mistake. So he changes his mind, he changes his opinion. So it is a bada. So they say, if we believe that Allah has commanded something and afterward we believe that Allah has changed His commandment, means that later on Allah came to know that my previous commandment was not good. It means there is a fault in, we have to believe that there is a fault in Allah's knowledge. There is a fault. So they say this is a finding fault in Allah, if we believe in that. And Allah is free from all faults. So we agree with them in this point that Allah is free from all faults. We agree with them. وَالْبَدَاءُ عَلَى اللَّهِ مَحَالٍ. It is impossible that Allah does not know anything. It is impossible that something was hidden from Allah. We believe, we agree with them. But we refute them, we disagree with them that nasakh is bada'un ala Allah. Nasakh is not bada'. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He replaces some commandment or He lifts some commandment. It is not bada'. It is not bada', because when Allah gives some commandment, it does not mean that Allah did not know the consequences. Allah gives some commandment. Why Allah changes afterward? There is a wisdom, there is a hikmah. It is not like, it is similar to a person, a doctor, a very expert doctor, who knows that when my patient, he will take this medicine, afterward he will have to change the medicine, he will get this medicine because there will change in his body. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from all faults. There is no fault. There is no fault in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knowledge in His characteristics. There is a wisdom. What are the wisdom behind this nasakh, this change the commandment? First is takhfif. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent some commandment for the people, but Allah knows that the people of later generation will find it hard to follow this commandment. So Allah changes the commandment for takhfif linnas, to make it easy for people. He gives some commandment, but Allah then, out of His mercy, He changes the commandment to make it easy for people. Take the example of prayers. How many prayers we have been commanded to offer in a day? 5? 50. Yeah. We have been commanded, the Prophet Islam, when he went to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he had been commanded to offer how many prayers? 50 prayers. So what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He changed the commandment. Then now we have been commanded to offer how many? 5 just. Though we don't offer that in different case. We have been commanded to offer 5 prayers. And Allah said, Tilka khamsun wa tilka khamsun. These are 5 in practical, in your practices, but they are 50 in reward. In the reward, we offer 5 prayers and we will get the reward of 50 prayers. Man jaa bil hasana falahu ashru amzaliha. He who performed one good deed, he will get 10 multiplied by 10. He will get 10 times more. So if we offer 5 prayers, we will get the reward of 50 prayers. So Allah, He made easy for us. Out of this ease, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He changed the commandment. And there are so many examples of this ease and takhfif. Allah wants to make easy for people, light. Like suppose Allah says, O people, ya ayyuhal idha naditum ar-rasula faqaddimu bayna yaday najwaakum sadaqa. O the believer, if you want to whisper to the Prophet in privacy, if you want to talk to him in discuss some private issue, want to ask him some question, فَقَدِّمُوا بَيْنَ يَدَيْ نَجْوَاكُمْ صَدَقَةً. So you have to pay some charity. Give some charity before you go near to the Prophet and ask him some question. First give some sadaqah. But then Allah, He changed the commandment. And this is the only one commandment. Sayyidina Ali ibn radiyallahu ta'ala, he said that, ayatun fi kitabillah, there is a verse in Allah's book, no one else practice on that verse except me. Neither before me or not after me. Only one person practice on that ayah, that is ayah Surah Al-Mujadala. When this ayah was revealed, Ali ibn radiyallahu ta'ala, he read the ayah, he listened the ayah, and he had to ask something to the Prophet. So he paid 1 dinar to ask a question. So he gives charity sadaqah of 1 dinar and went to the Prophet ﷺ and asked the question. But just after that, the next ayah was revealed. Allah says that, no, if you ashfaqtum an taqdimu sadaqah fa idh lam taf'alu wa taba Allahu alaykum fa aqimu as-salata wa atu az-zakata. Afterward, this condition was lifted. Now afterward, there was no more condition to pay sadaqah, to pay charity. It was just for some short time. And only one Sahabi, Sayyidina Ali ibn radiyallahu, he followed this instruction just after that. As the Qatada rahimahullah says that it was just for 1 sa'a, for a short time. Next ayah was just after that. So it is takhfif. Allah wants to make easy for people. So another example. So it is the first, and the second was tadreej, gradually. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He imposed the commandment by a gradual system. Slowly. It was impossible for people to follow all instruction at once. Gradually the command was given. Like in the time of Jahiliyyah, when people that came to Islam at that time, that the alcohol, it was not made haram in one instruction, because it was hard for people, because the people had been drinking alcohol for ages. So just by one command, oh people, the alcohol is haram from after this time. It had been very easy, hard for people. So Allah gradually Allah made it haram. First Allah said, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. They asked you regarding alcohol, O Prophet, inform that there are some good benefits, but their harms and dangers are more than their benefits. So this one first. Then Allah said, لَا تَقْرَبُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْتُمْ سُكَارَى حَتَّى تَعْلَمُوا مَا تَقُولُونَ. When you want to offer prayer, don't drink alcohol. Second, then after some time, Allah clearly made it haram. Allah said, فَاجْتَنِبُوا إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنْصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوا. They are evils and the acts of shaitan, from shaitan, so you must avoid. Afterward, it was completely banned and made haram, but not in the first moment, gradually. This is gradual. And the third wisdom behind this nasakh and abrogation is to know who is a true follower, who submits before the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to check the true believers, to clarify between the true and the hypocrites, true believer and the hypocrites. Take the example of tahweel qibla, the change of qibla. First qibla, the Muslims they were offering towards Baitul Maqdis, and when the Prophet ﷺ, he immigrated to Medina after 15 or 16 months, the qibla was changed. Allah says, why we change the qibla? لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعُ الرَّسُولَ مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَىٰ عَقِبَيْهِ, so that we know that who follows the Prophet ﷺ and who turns to kufr again. So this was that we want to know that who submits himself before every command of the Prophet, every command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah gives some command, then Allah replaces. So Muslim, he has to say سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. إِنَّمَا كَانَ قَوْلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذَا دُعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ أَن يَقُولُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. They don't argue that why Allah first commanded this one, now why Allah changed one. No. If the command is from Allah, they have to submit. If the command is from the Prophet Nabi, they have to submit, they have to bow down. They have to accept that. This is the reason, this is the wisdom that Allah wants. Who follows the commandment and who refuses and who argues and who starts arguing and who starts refusing and denying. So, we should know the meaning of nasakh. What is the nasakh? Nasakh, linguistically, the nasakh means izalatu shay, to move something, to change something. As the Arab they used to say that nasakhat shamsu al-dhil. The sun has removed the shadow. When the sun comes, no, there is no shadow, or there is a light. Nasakhat al-rihu azar al-mashi. When you walk on sand, so there are traces, there are signs, footprints. But when the rih, then the winds blow, so it has removed all the footsteps. So nasakh means to remove, to change, to abrogate, to cancel, to nullify something. So this is linguistic meaning. And nasakh means ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها. There are different kinds of nasakh. But before we discuss those kinds, we have to know, and there is much discussion regarding, some people they say why this is. So nasakh is not in all matters of deen. If you look at the maqasid of Quran, the main discussion of Quran, the main topics of Quran, we can divide into three categories. All discussion, all topics of Quran. First is Aqidah. First is Aqidah. There is no nasakh in Aqidah. It does not mean that first Allah says, worship Allah and don't worship. Then Allah says, no, you can worship. No. There's clear cut. Qul Allahu ahad. No change. In the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His oneness, in His attributes, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Tawheed. There is no change, no abrogation. Belief in angels, belief in akhirah, belief in qadr, belief in books, belief in prophets. There is no nasakh at all in Aqidah. And the second portion of Quran is qisas, the stories of Prophet. There is no nasakh in stories. All stories, they were not a single word was changed. It was, first it was mentioned about a prophet this and then it was changed. No, all are the same and similar. Second is ahkam, some commandment. Nasakh is only in ahkam and not in all ahkam, in some few ahkam. So I don't know why people still there is some objection, some question regarding this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah says, Alam ta'alam anna Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir. Allah can do everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Mashiach. He is free. Whatever He commands, whatever He removes the commandment. So nasakh is only in ahkam. Only in ahkam. And there are three types of nasakh. Three types of nasakh. First is that the nasakh al-tilawa wal-hukum. Tilawa and the hukum both are removed from Quran. Means Allah sent some commandment and afterward both were lifted. No hukum is mentioned in Quran. Sayyida Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said that before the death of the Prophet, we used to read a verse in Quran that if a baby he suckles a woman 10 times, 10 رضعات معلومات يحرم, 10 suckling of a baby, it makes haram to marry that lady or to her daughter. Means that women would become his mother, Radai mother, Murdi'a. But she said that later on they were changed, replaced by 5 times. 5 times. So this hukum is applicable now. 5 times, but it's not mentioned. The verse is no more in Quran. But she said that we used to read this ayah. And another kind is that the ayah is removed from Quran. The ayah is no more in Quran, but the hukum is still applicable. The ayah, first was the ayah and the hukum both were changed, like the 10 times. They used to read the ayah the 10 times, but afterward it was changed. The ayah is lifted and the hukum is lifted and replaced by 5 times. Even the 5 times the ayah is no more in Quran, but it is, the hukum is baqi. The second is, the ayah is no more recited in Quran, but the hukum still applicable. Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala, he said that we used to read an ayah in Quran, الشيخ والشيخة إذا زنيا فرجموهما البتة نكالا من الله. If elderly man or woman they commit adultery, zina, they must be stoned to death. So he said that we used to read this ayah, but afterward the ayah was lifted, removed from Quran. But the hukum is still applicable. The Nabi Islam, he followed the commandment in his time. In the Sahaba, Umar Farooq, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, and the other Sahaba, they practically follow the commandment. But this ayah is no more in Quran. So hukum is still applicable and ayah is removed from Quran. And the third is the ayah we read, still ayah is recited in Quran, but the hukum is not applicable. The hukum is lifted, the hukum is abrogated now. And we have plenty of examples in Quran. So there are so many examples in Quran of this kind of nasakh, that we read some ayah, but this ayah is abrogated. Can you give me any example from Quran? There are so many examples.
Allah will hold account whatever we think and whatever we say.
Yeah, particle. But the ayah is mentioned in Quran. La yukallifu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah said, لله ما في السماوات والأرض فإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله. If you think something or you hide, Allah will hold accountable for that. Later on, Allah cancelled, abrogated, لا يكلف نفسا إلا وسعها. So there are so many examples that the ayah, that is not regarding that, the ayah is still recited, but the hukum is mansukh now. As this ayah is recited, but this ayah was replaced by the next ayah. Allah says, لا يكلف نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. A person, he will get what he has earned, what he has done. And if you look at the example, the same example I gave you in the beginning, Allah says that a person who finds it hard, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Those people who find hard to fast, they can pay a fidya of a poor person, they can feed a poor person. This ayah is recited, but the hukum is abrogated by another ayah, وَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. And another example of the widow, Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا وَصِيَّةً لِأَزْوَاجِهِمْ مَتَاعًا إِلَى الْحَوْلِ غَيْرَ إِخْرَاجٍ. Those women whose husbands have died, they should stay in the house of their ex-husband for 1 year, the whole year. This ayah you still will recite in Al-Baqarah, in Quran. But this commandment is not followed now, because there is another ayah that is nasikh. So mansukh ayah which had been abrogated, this ayah is mansukh now. It's abrogating words in another ayah. Say, وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا. They should wait 4 months and 10 days. This is the final ayah. This is the nasikh. And the previous ayah that is mentioned, for that talk about the whole 1 year, that is mansukh now. Likewise, the example of paying charity is mansukh now. If you want to talk to the Prophet, you should pay charity, sadaqah is mansukh. Next ayah is the nasikh. And likewise, the other ayahs, there are so many examples regarding the ahkam that Allah, even in an ahadith, you find some ahadith that first Allah, the Nabi Islam, commandment, he gives some commandment, then he cancelled, as he said that akun ala inni kuntu nahidukum an ziyaratil qubur al-an zuruha fa innaha tudhakkirukum al-akhirah. That I had prohibited you to visit graveyard, but now I allow you, I permit you, you know you can visit graveyard because they remind you akhirah. So in Quran we find some verses, but they are not practiced now. The ayat are being recited, we still get the reward, but the other ahkam, the other ayat, they have proved that these ayat are abrogated, but still we are reciting. And there are some kinds of abrogation, nasikh and mansukh. First is al-nasakh al-Quran bil-Quran. That some ayat of Quran are abrogated by another ayat of Quran. As we have mentioned so many examples. That one ayah we read, but when we find another ayah, we find that this ayah is mansukh now. Quran itself abrogates another ahkam of Quran, another ayat of Quran. There are so many examples. And the second is naskhu sunnah bil Quran. That Quran, it abrogates some commandment which is mentioned in Sunnah. Quran has abrogated some commandment which we do not find in Quran, but we find in Sunnah of the Prophet. And what the Quran has abrogated. And the famous example of Tahweel Qibla, that the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, they used to face Qibla Baytul Maqdis while praying in Makkah and in the early days of Medina. There is no any single verse in Quran that Allah subhanahu has commanded to face towards Baytul Maqdis, but it was in Sunnah. The Prophet practically he was offering towards Baytul Maqdis, Sahaba. So what Allah said, وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرَهُ وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ, wherever you are, you must face to Qibla Baytullah. So Quran has abrogated Sunnah, and there are so many other examples. And the third is Naskhul Qur'ani bis Sunnah. Naskhul Qur'ani bis Sunnah, that some commandment which we find in Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet and the saying of the Prophet and the Hadith of Prophet has abrogated the commandment given in Quran. So this is the issue. There are some disagreement among scholars, but the most authentic one is even Sunnah can abrogate Quran, because there is no difference. There is no difference between the verse of Quran and the saying of the Prophet and the commandment of the Prophet, because Quran, how do we believe that this is Quran? By the Sunnah of the Prophet. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. We cannot make any difference. Nabi Islam said that ألا إني أوتيت القرآن ومثله معه. I have been given Quran and similar commandment along with that, in the form of Sunnah. وَيُعَلِّمُهُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. The Prophet, he teaches them Kitab as well as Hikmah. What is Hikmah? Sunnah of the Prophet. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الذِّكْرَ لِتُبَيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ. It was the duty of the Prophet to explain the book of Allah subhanahu. Whatever he has said in the explanation of Quran, it is always true. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Whatever he speaks after receiving revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He himself said, وَاللَّهِ مَا يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُ إِلَّا حَقٌّ. Nothing comes out of my mouth except truth. Because Allah subhanahu has granted, He said, وَلَوْ تَقَوَّلَ عَلَيْنَا بَعْضَ الْأَقَاوِيلِ لَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُ بِالْيَمِينِ. He never said, he never lied upon the Prophet. Whatever he said about Quran, about Allah, it was always true. How can we say that we will believe only in Quran, not in Sunnah? Even Sunnah, because whatever Islam is said, he always say after receiving revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the famous example of Naskhul Quran is Sunnah. Allah says that Kutiba alaykum idha hadara ahadam, that those people, when it's the time of dividing inheritance, so the people, the other relatives, so you should also give them. You should also give the other relatives, the ayah in Surah Al-Nisa. When you divide the inheritance, the other relatives who have no share in inheritance, you should also give them. But the Sunnah says, Islam says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَعْطَى كُلَّ ذِي حَقٍّ حَقًّا فَلَا وَصِيَّةَ لِوَارِثٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the due share to all people who deserve. Now there is no wasiyah for any waris. وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا وَصِيَّةً لِأَزْوَاجِهِمْ. The verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, says, those people who die and they leave behind their wives, they should make wasiyah for their wives. وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا وَصِيَّةً لِأَزْوَاجِهِمْ مَتَاعًا إِلَى الْحَوْلِ غَيْرَ إِخْرَاجٍ. And وَصِيَّةً لِلْوَالِدَيْنِ وَالْأَقْرَبِينَ. And they should do wasiyah for walidain, for the close relatives. Now the Sunnah says, فَلَا وَصِيَّةَ لِوَارِثٍ. No wasiyah, no will is permissible for relatives, for parents. Whatever the due share Allah has mentioned in Quran, only it would be given. You cannot give more share to any waris by your will. It has been prohibited. So the Sunnah has clarified that wasiyah is not permissible. And the fourth one is naskhu sunnati bis sunnah, that abrogation of any sunnah, any hadith by another commandment of the Prophet, by another saying of the Prophet, and we find plenty of examples. So this nasikh and mansukh is not determined by any ijtihad, by any opinion of any scholar. They are clear cut. We have to know that we have to study and analyze the teaching of the Prophet, the verses of Quran. Only then we are able to determine whether this hukum is mansukh or not, whether we should follow this hukum or whether this has been prohibited or abrogated. So these are the basic information. Inshallah, if you want more detail, you can ask any question. But there are long discussion. These are some basic things that we all Muslims should know. That what is the meaning, what is the importance, and what are the types, what are the other kinds of nasikh and mansukh, and what is the wisdom behind this abrogation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us tawfiq to understand the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He correct our aqidah and He make us, save us from all kinds